Hello. Oh, I almost didn't record today because I am chalking it up to the days that I work. It just like drains my life force. And then I get home and I just want to rot. And that's a bad excuse because it puts no accountability on me. But literally the past 2 days, that has happened. I just work. I get home at 6 and then I'm like, oh, I'm just going to watch YouTube and take a nap on my bed. But this time some divine energy brought me back and gave me the inspiration to make this video. I went on a walk and I made the decision that these are kind of just to hold me accountable for recording and kind of just being an audio journal for me where it's like this is like I said like I was saying this is what I thought about today. This is what I realized and just kind of to keep me, in the YouTube sphere. And then I think the like in between videos are going to be the really interesting kind of deep dive topics where I I think I'll probably get more traction on them and I will kind of build my audience from there. So these are kind of just not like throwaway, but pretty whatever. But the first topic, this one is like in the center of my mind right now. And that's kind of like falling into my old habits. I'm a very addictive person, I've come to realize. And the main addictions that I've struggled with in the past are, let's just say, pork, so that I don't get killed by YouTube. And then also just like junk food addictions. And uh, those are kind of rearing their heads again. And I'm not too worried about it because I know now that treating addictions, as the problem and as addictions is kind of what gives them power. And then the shame that you feel creates a loop and it kind of keeps you stuck. I think, particularly, my first one, I want to make a whole video about in the future because I think that one is really prevalent in today's society and especially with young men. It is really bad. But yeah, that one is going to be tough. I think just kind of doing more enriching activities, and like I said, I think work has to do with it too. I think I'm just lower energy, so I have less willpower to resist it, and it's like, I don't know, it kind of comes in waves. Like there are definitely periods of my life where I engage in it a lot more, but it's interesting and it's nice to be able to realize that I'm falling into these old habits because it literally feels like I felt maybe a couple months ago. And I noticed the disparity now about my life like last week and like earlier this week versus kind of the way I used to live and how I'm currently living these past couple days. I think a way of kind of just cheating that is just switching your life up a lot. So, you know, quitting my job, having more free time, that's probably going to be enough to change it. And then like moving places, making like these big life decisions, those force you out of your habits. And typically they will go away because I think the habits are kind of propagated by remaining in the same routine, the same environment. It's kind of like a safety and security thing. And it's, your brain is used to doing it every day, so it makes it something that it does. So I think they'll be easy to break, but I like now that I have the awareness to notice that I'm falling into them before I'm just like full blast into them and then I become miserable and I'm like, how do I beat these? But dealing with those right now, I don't really care too much about the second one because I don't care that much about, well, yeah, I'd say that much. I probably still care a little bit. I don't really care how I look now. That was like really bad for me before, but now it's just one of those things where I'm like, who cares? The worst thing is the money that I spend on the food, but I think that one will go away. It's just the first one that I want to keep an eye on because that one is not good. The second topic is just surrender in general. And this is the thing that I've been working on again lately, just not not letting my mind or my actions get in the way of life happening. and my next topic will kind of go into that. But it's just it just feels like the way to live. It feels like the more you struggle, and the more you try, you say it's trying, but it's really struggling against life, the more miserable you become. So I think truly surrendering and just letting everything happen is really the way to go from this point. It it's the like I said, it's kind of the paradox. It's like once you stop trying for the things that you desire, they just come to you, which is beautiful in a way. And then this kind of feeding into my next topic, I I think I kind of like comparing life to a puzzle, and it's not like a perfect one-to-one description, but the way that it works in my mind, life is a puzzle being put together, and when you're using your mind, when your ego is getting in the way, it's like shaking up the box of the pieces, and it's like, this god or this divine force is looking for those pieces, he's grabbing them and he's going to put them in. And then the second you start to let your mind get in the way, that's you shaking the box around, and then it's like, oh no, I don't know where the piece is. So either way, the puzzle is going to get built, but the amount of time that takes and the amount of struggle and negative feelings that you feel in regards to it getting built depends on how much you are letting your ego and your mind control your life. So I think that even if it does take a while for you to get the things that you decide or desire, that just kind of letting things happen and not stressing so much about all these little details and how they're going to happen will just make you happier overall. Like who doesn't want to be happier? And then the last thing is kind of back to what I mentioned a couple videos ago, which was like silencing doubt. Now I put like overcoming doubt and just being more private in general. I think our world, at least the microcosm that I'm in now, with like the people that I'm surrounded with, is very ignorant. Like they don't know about these concepts, and they're very stuck in like work hard and make money and live a good life and retire at 60. Like they're very like, if you don't have a plan, you're screwed. If you're not saving money, you're screwed. They're very close-minded. So when it comes to things like this, you just have to understand that you are going to get a lot of pushback. You are going to get a lot of people and opinions that doubt, what you believe. But understanding and having faith is the way to keep going. And I also kind of thought about that too. I think I heard something about like the difference between faith and belief. I believe that the way that faith differs from belief, faith is the belief in something without, pure evidence or knowledge. So that's like God. There is technically no factual scientific proof that God exists, but so many people put their belief, put their energy into, yes, this is real, just because they want to, just because it brings them happiness, whatever it may be. And having faith and having that unwavering belief is so strong, because your mindset is becoming your reality. So even if it doesn't exist, you're kind of willing it into existence in a way. And faith will help you overcome that doubt, because there are going to be these people that say those things and that don't believe you, especially like the spiritual side of things. They're going to be like, "What is just mumbo jumbo? This isn't what I was raised learning about." So just keep in mind that not everyone is going to be receptive to perhaps what you believe in, or these things that sound unreal. They've been kind of like beaten down. Okay, don't shake my camera, bro. They've been kind of beaten down by depression and life and taxes and all this stuff. So it sounds unreal to them, and they won't believe it because they don't have faith. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. We are here to live the lives that we want and make ourselves, at least I'm here to make myself better, to try to teach these people about this stuff and make their lives better and get them what they desire. And then the last thing on that was kind of being more private. I think in this aspect, it is honestly better to kind of be more private, be more reserved when it comes to that stuff, because a lot of these people aren't going to be receptive. If anything, it's going to perhaps make them think less of you, which really doesn't matter. But the thing that's kind of been rolling around in my mind is, what if they start like negatively manifesting, or what if they get through and then my mind is like, well, maybe this isn't true, and I start to like doubt. So I think when it comes to stuff like this, yeah, making an assumption isn't the best thing, but if you kind of have an idea that people aren't going to be receptive to your beliefs or your path of life, it's sometimes just better to live your own way and, not be trying to preach to them, because they're just gonna come up with like negative stuff. Just say like, what's the point if they're not gonna appreciate it? They're not gonna be happy for you, whatever. So being more private, I think overall, at least in the way that you're living, is good. But still try to have connections and be open and experience life with other people. Because, as I've said before, you are a fiend. That is what we're on this earth to do: is to experience each other's company and see how everyone's different and love each other. So I'll see you then.